My friends, as Father Time marches on, something truly remarkable is about to happen in GoldenEye 007 that no one is really talking about. Or perhaps it's already happened and just no one has really noticed. You see, when someone achieves all 3 untied world records on all 3 difficulties of a single stage, we call this an untied sweep, one of the most prestigious achievements one can make in GoldenEye 007 speedrunning. And one untied sweep that still stands today has done something that no other untied sweep has ever done before. All 3 records have remained untied for over 6 years. This is truly unheard of in the game of GoldenEye, as, like many games, once you reach the top, you're a target for others to come chase you down. Yet, somehow, someway, Ace's control records of 355 Agent, 401 Secret Agent, and 402 00 Agent have all remained untied since he set them back in October 2019. What's more remarkable is that since then, all that time ago, not one person has even come within 1 second of his Secret or 00 Agent records. And even more remarkable, there's a very good chance that in a few months' time, Ace will hold the top 4 spots on the longest standing untied world records of all time chart. So today, let's dive into some of the greatest world records ever set in GoldenEye history, how they happened, what makes them so remarkable, and ponder if they will ever get tied and how it relates to the future of GoldenEye speedrunning. So my friends, here is the story of Ace's untied sweep on Control.
Here we go!
But first, my friends, we must take a moment today to ponder another remarkable game, one where I'll tell you how to get an exclusive bonus in a minute, that game being the one and only. They are back in business indeed, and I too have been playing some Raid myself, grinding out some new champions and game modes, and you too can try out 2 epic champions when you download the game with my link or QR code on screen now. Even more, with a simple promo code, you can get a legendary champion, the Ultimate Death Knight, who is back. If you're a new player and use code UDKING, you can get him and start leveling up. There are 5 great reasons to get Ultimate Death Knight. He takes all the hits for your team with his passive Too Awesome to Die. He heals himself whenever an opponent is healed. He shields your whole team with his move Get Comfy Everyone. He shuts down enemy legendaries with provokes and debuffs, and he's useful pretty much everywhere, in Arena, the dungeons, and many other game modes. And the best part, he's a free legendary which basically never happens in Raid. So download Raid through my link or QR code, use the promo code UDKING, and bingo bango bongo, you'll get this truly legendary champion before he disappears from the game again. Oh yeah, one of my viewers is a level 100 master at Raid and has set up a clan in my honor, the Truly Amazing Clan, with code JVNE, which you can use to join it. You can find me there as R White Goose, and we get great rewards daily by fighting the clan boss. So check it out, my friends, with my link or QR code, 2 epic champions, get UDKING for the Ultimate Death Knight. Oh, and if you'd prefer another champion than Ultimate Death Knight, there are 5 other promo codes you can use for a free legendary champion for new accounts. I'd recommend Tuhanarok, since she's a Void champion, which are quite a bit more rare. Anyways, that's that. Thanks Raid, and onwards we go. So, Control has always been one of the more complex levels in GoldenEye speedrunning, with perhaps the highest skill ceiling. This, combined with it being the longest level in the game, and thus even minute mistakes add up over the course of the stage, have resulted in it being a level where really only the very top, very best players in the world at any given time have ever been able to obtain world records on the stage, particularly when it comes to untied world records. There's incredibly precise shooting early on to take out the drones quickly in the first room, and good strafing needed through the next part of the stage, returning to Natalia. Then, in a high-pressure environment, one must protect Natalia for over 2 minutes, and then precisely execute the ending with various fine mine throws. Even looking and moving in certain directions gives Natalia the best chance of escaping back to the beginning lift, Objective A, and modern strategies have only made the whole level even more complicated, which is a good part in which has led to where we are now. Take a look at an older Control run, where we see Natalia remain at her desk for the whole hacking sequence, Objective B. When she's done here, she has to run from this desk, up these stairs, towards her ending location in the opening lift. Ideally, this used to take around 17.5 seconds, and you would enter the lift to end the stage right about 17.5 seconds after her last message disappeared, and hope for the best. Sometimes you'd complete, sometimes not. Probably more often than not. And that was that. But it all began to change somewhere in the mid-2010s, because it was at this time when we had kind of a deeper understanding of the game, and we also realized that, Natalia has a lot of health, which we can kind of use as a bit of a resource. So we could quite easily shoot her a few times, causing her to do an injury animation, which actually causes her to back up a few steps, with the end result of her being closer to the place she needs to be in order to complete the level. So instead of having to wait 17 seconds at the end of the stage, something like 16 or 16.5 might do the trick. Now, this was easier said than done, as managing the whole situation of guards coming after you for 2.5 minutes while also injuring Natalia in the correct way, something that obviously causes her to lose health and thus puts her more at risk of passing away from a guard, well, it's a complicated balancing act, but if done right, it is certainly the optimal strategy to play Control. This was combined with a few other discoveries, like the knowledge to throw mines through walls by unloading those walls when looking away, allowing some new techniques to complete Objective C, destroy all the mainframes, and it made for some remarkable improvements and time cut on the stage. The records at the end of the year 2009 were 359, 407, 411, and by the end of 2014, they were 356, 404, 405. That's 3 seconds cut on Agent and Secret Agent, and 6 seconds cut on 00 Agent. Quite a bit of time cut, certainly nothing to sneeze at. But we weren't done there. In 2019, a slight tweak to this Natalia backup technique was discovered and refined. You see, if you shoot Natalia precisely at this moment, where she's doing a sort of final angled twist and turn towards her computer, you can lock her into that angle, thus backing her up even more directly on the line, on an angled line, towards where she needs to be to leave the stage. Now, this is hardly a game-breaking technique. You're backing up an already slow-moving NPC only slightly closer than they already were to a point where they need to be, so this hardly saves any real time, but it did make 16-second endings more consistent and sparked quite a remarkable rivalry on the stage. Alright, I remember this next bit vividly. It was summer 2019, and I was staying at the old family cabin, which unfortunately has left the family in the last few years. But anyhow, I was staying there day and night, and when everyone had gone to bed after a long, sun-kissed and windswept day of exploring the beaches of the wonderful Great Lakes, I would retreat to my small room and watch legendary GoldenEye speedrunner True Faith Clemens attempt to get new world records on Control, especially Secret and 00 Agent. You see, at this moment in time, the world records were 356 Agent, 403 Secret Agent, and 404 00 Agent, with Agent originally being set by Clem himself in 2014, and the Secret and 00 Agent times being set in 2016 by Perfect Ace, using some of the knowledge mentioned earlier of backing up Natalia in general and the more advanced mine throws, allowing for all-round better management of the stage and all of its challenges. But the records did not use the angled Natalia backup strategy just yet, and that's what Clemens was doing. These Control streams are just so amazing to watch. The level has such a great vibe to it, and especially at this point in time, you get this level and the player starts out and takes the drones in the first room, and you can kind of tell if they're on pace or not for a potential run underway, as we say. And then they go into the next part of the stage after Natalia unlocks the door, run through and use the mines to get through the glass, which is a tricky thing unto itself, get to Natalia, and then it's like, can they pull off all this technical stuff quickly? Backing her up at a certain angle, doing the protect, completing the mine throws, and all that stuff. And so the level kind of has this way of building towards the ending, and then you kind of wait to see the end time, like could it be a record? And it makes it very exciting to watch. And I remember having just such a great time watching Clem go for these records in that summer 2019. Some of the greatest streams I ever remember watching, actually. You know, I have nostalgia for these streams that were only 6 years ago, something from 2019. So here's this one run where Clem thinks he may have a chance at the record, Control Secret Agent 403, but it's not. And then Clem goes on to sing the praises of Ace's Untieds on the stage.
Yes! I don't know what this is, man. Pretty decent run, though. What? That's it? Whatever. Dude, 403 is insane. What the? I thought that was 404. I think I might have left a little bit late. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but I thought that was for sure 404. They honestly could be the best records. I'm starting to think that.
Now, many lesser gamers would be forever deterred by this outcome, getting a great run but coming up short, and even Clemens, being a great gamer himself, on the far end of the Dunning-Kruger chart, knowing exactly how good he is at the game and exactly how much better Ace's records were. It would feel like some kind of Sisyphean nightmare. But Clem grinded and grinded, refining his skill and play on Control throughout the summer, eventually culminating in him not only tying Ace's records...
Boom! Oh my god! What the f***, man? What the f*** is that again? Oh, whatever. I thought it might be 403.
But then beating them both, with 402 Secret Agent and 403 00 Agent.
Yes! Oh my god. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Woo! Woo! Boom!
Now this was a truly remarkable triumph, no doubt, for Clem to overcome this massive challenge of these great records and set amazing new records of his own. And that could have been the end of the story right there. You know, these records could have remained untied forever. I should also mention that with these new techniques, another great GoldenEye player and former champion, Luke Scalars, also managed to tie Ace's 403 and 404 that summer. But he wasn't streaming it and has no live reaction, so while these are certainly still great records, they're just a little less compelling to watch storytelling-wise. But either way, Clem had these new records, Control Secret Agent 402 and Double Agent 403, and that was that. And Father Time continued to march on as he tends to do. But something unbelievable happened in early 2020. Well, many unbelievable things, but this one in particular for this story. This was a time a number of speedrunners unhoarded records, in a thing called Project 2020. We can get into the merits of hoarding or not another time, and you know, it seems as time goes on, the consensus is more and more that hoarding is bad, actually, but it was being done at this time either way. And in that hoard, we saw Ace somehow reveal times of Control 355, 401, 402, a new untied sweep by 1 second on every difficulty. I hate to pull the somehow Ace returned and beat every Control record cliche, but this time it's true. The level is so difficult, so exacting, so precise, that these additional just bits of skill that Ace has in shooting out the first drones, in strafing through the stage, and maybe getting a few lucky boosts and breaking the glass and getting back to Natalia, they all add up throughout the stage. And Ace just pushed the level to its absolute max, amazing Natalia backups and everything you could imagine for a perfect run, and he got these incredible records. And this is the thing, those records have remained untied ever since. 6 years straight of not just one untied world record, which is already insane and among the longest standing records of all time, but all three on the same stage untied for 6 years. 6 years in untied sweep. Something that has never been done in GoldenEye before, not even close. And as we'll find out, this just swamps what we've seen from other untied sweeps, which are sort of the equivalent of the grand slam of GoldenEye speedrunning, achievement that very few get, maybe once ever, if you have an amazing career. Many great players have never gotten it. Ace has had a handful, and now this one has lasted untied for 6 years, so much longer than any other untied sweep. So let's take a look at some of those other untied sweeps. Likely the most legendary set of untied sweeps in GoldenEye history was that of the icon Ilu on Aztec. He lowered the records here numerous times, but his first sweep was initiated in March 2006 when he untied Agent 134. He would lower his untieds and the untied sweep on all the difficulties numerous times, from 134 Agent, 144 Secret Agent, and 154 Double Agent, all the way down to 131, 139, and 144. Truly insane, a true era of dominance on this stage. Yet by early 2008, all of his Aztec records were tied, mostly by Clemens and Ace. And in fact, by early 2009, once Mark Rutsu got involved and lowered Aztec Agent to 130, all of Ilu's Aztec records had now been beaten, and Ilu would never hold a record on Aztec again. So this unbelievable and iconic era of Aztec dominance and numerous untied sweeps all in all lasted less than 2 years. Another legendary sweep was on Train by the one and only Mark Rutsu. Now, he did lower Agent a number of times from 59 to 57, holding this single difficulty untied for over 7 years, which is an insane feat unto itself, but his untied sweep on the stage only started when he untied Double Agent 150 in January 2012. 2.5 years later, in July 2014, Ace would tie Mark's records on Secret and Double Agent. So another incredible untied sweep lasted about 2.5 years. Ace himself has had untied sweeps on Train, notably with 101, 126, 152, set in February 2007. But by 2010, we'd see Mark tie these records. So again, the incredible untied sweep lasted not quite 3 years. Boss has had piles of untied sweeps over the years, even on Control himself. His 4-minute, 413, 417 remain the records listed on Speed Demo's archive, forever immortalized in that way. But even this sweep lasted about 3 years, from his first set of Control untieds in summer 2003 until Ilu tied his 4-minute Agent time in November 2006. It would seem that around 3 years is kind of seeming to be the far end of the life expectancy of even the greatest untied sweeps. Boss was the first to get times of 220 on Statue all round, something he did in May 2003, but by mid-2005, they would begin to get tied, a period of just over 2 years. Even I once had an untied sweep ages ago when I was a younger man and more spry on Silo with 104, 110, 129, but this only lasted a few months. Boss 2 had an untied sweep on Silo from about 2004 to 2006 when I tied some of his records. Clem's one and only untied sweep took place on Aztec in November 2015, but this again only lasted a few months. One last amazing untied sweep mention is again on Train, this time from Henrik Weister Norgren. He finally got the untied sweep when he finally took down Mark's time on Agent with the untied 56 seconds in April 2020. And by June 2023, Ace had tied Henrik's Secret and Double Agent record, so again, right around 3 years. And that's what makes keeping untied sweeps so insanely difficult. These are the greatest players of all time on their best stages, mastering the game beyond what anyone could plausibly conceive. But if just one fellow competitor matches one of these times, your untied sweep is done. And that's what makes Ace holding all 3 Control untieds for 6 years just frankly unbelievable. And you have to ask yourself at this point in GoldenEye history, is this the most complicated stage with the runs most approaching perfection? Will anyone ever beat them? On some stages, say Runway Agent or Dam Agent, you could see a player without 20 years of experience like Ace, you know, ramming their head into a wall, playing 1,000 hours to get a new untied or to tie a record that is currently untied. You know, we've seen these things happen in history, but Control requires such control of Bond, such poise and skill overall in the game, that it would take someone like generations of skill to learn the game to a level of even being able to get close to Ace's records. So unless a new strategy is discovered that just blows these out of the water and saves tons of time making it cake, like who's gonna tie these times? You know, we know Clemens is 1 second behind, so like he could plausibly do it, but we saw what a journey it was for him to even get the records he has today, the personal records. They were once world records. So it would take a hugely dedicated effort for him to tie Ace's records on the stage. There are a few players here and there who have done well on Control, but it still takes like levels upon levels beyond what we're used to see them grow into that area of skill that would approach tying Ace's records. Will they ever be tied? And these are very fair questions to ask ourselves at this point in GoldenEye speedrunning. Another thing to note as time goes on is the list of top 10 all-time longest lasting untied world records ever. Now on this list, Ace's Facility Agent 42 is like going to take over #1 very soon. It's going to pass Mark's Damn Double Agent 155, an insanely storied record unto itself that lasted over 6 years. But not that far behind are all of his Control untied world records. You know, that reminds me, like, I think of the Damn 00155, you know, how much play I got from that on stream and in videos and speedlores. 6-year untied world record, it was insane. And now Ace is gonna have 3 of these on the same stage on Control, plus the one on Facility. And it's kind of getting into this late stage of GoldenEye where these records from 2019 and 2020 are these sort of masterpieces untied by one player with all the knowledge and skill in the game put into one run. It's like, is this the end stage of GoldenEye speedrunning? We see even on this list, Callie's Surface 1 Secret Agent 146 and Joris's Jungle Secret Agent 51 are on this list now, right up there with these like unbelievably historic runs, like Clemens's Bunker 2 Secret Agent 44 and Mark's Damn Times and Ace's Jungle Secret Agent 53. It's just kind of stunning to see this new era where we have 6 records on this list, which are all 5-6 years old and counting, and no one's tied them. And it really just strikes me in a very unusual way, kind of knowing this game so intimately and knowing the history of the record so intimately. It's like, will these untieds last forever? And that's a question that I can only ponder and ponder and ponder as time goes on. But hey, as an aside, you know, with the winter months are settling in, I'm trying to get set up into a new cabin, a new fireside, so I appreciate all of you all for watching and, you know, putting up with the sponsored videos to some extent. I do have another one coming, but come late November and December, it's going to be regular firesides, regular videos. I'm really going to get back on that pace that I was on earlier this year of multiple videos per week. I want to do it and make it happen, so I appreciate all of you for hanging out and watching and making this possible, you know? Many, many great speedrunning stories to be told by the fireside. And hey, here's tonight's story of Ace's remarkable Control sweep, still untied. What can you say? A huge thanks to all of you, my friends, for watching. A special thanks to the channel members and Speedlore legends and champions for all of your support over the years. Be sure to check out Raid Shadow Legends with my link here in the end card. Stay true, my friends, and I will see you all in the next stream or video.